We've got to create incentives for a vibrant private market that offers individuals the opportunity to buy an individual plan separate from their employment status. And if we did that, you would take care of a big chunk of that 30 million Americans.
You've been a great audience tonight. We appreciate all these questions. We're going to have to cut this short, though. I'm sure there are many more questions on our hearts. But we're going to take 3 more. So the next 3 in line, we'll go with you guys. And I'm sorry for those of you in the back. Maybe there'll be another opportunity for you. Thanks.
Talk about rationing, huh?
First, a quick statement. I'd like to suggest your first act be, as a U.S. Senator, be to suggest that the other 534 members of Congress read the Constitution. Second question, right now the United States has controlling interests in companies like AIG, General Motors, Buick, and a large number of financial institutions. What is your view? Should the United States ever be owners or part owners or have controlling interests of any company?
No, and it's simple to say that, right? Because I would have said yes if I believed that government will willingly part with it when the time is right. The reality of it is we know that it's not going to happen. Once a government bureaucracy gets its hands on an industry or an enterprise, it's very difficult to pry it loose. The second concern I have is that many of these companies failed by their own hand. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means 2 things. It means, number one, no matter how much money you pour into them, all you're doing is delaying their failure. And the second thing that it means is that you're privatizing risk. You're basically saying to people, you know what, if you make money, it belongs to you. I'm sorry, you're making public risk, you're making profits private, but losses public. And what you're basically telling companies, and the message you're sending is that if you go out and engage in risky behavior, if you're a large and powerful company who hires the right lawyers and the right lobbyists, you can go out and pretty much do anything you want. Because if you ever run into problems, you'll be able to convince the federal government to bail you out because you're too big to fail. Well, let me tell you, that is a horrible precedent to set, because it leads to irresponsible behavior in the marketplace. I assure you that some of these car makers, as hard as it's going to be to say goodbye to GM, I bet you that there are people that work at GM that can build a better car than GM does. And all they need is some seed money to go out and do it. I know that the American innovator, the same people that took a cell phone that was once the size of a brick and turned it into the size of your hand, are the same people that will go out and build American cars in the valley. Now, the auto industry is a horrible example. We do have to undertake meaningful tax reform in America. It costs more money to build things in this country and to do things in this country, and it's not just because of labor costs, although that's significant. Our tax code and the tax implications of building a business or starting a business in America are significant, and the disbalance grows every single day. Our tax code basically creates disincentives to opening up shop in America, and that's why we need meaningful tax reform to be a part of that. Hi.
My question is on tax cap and tax. I was wondering what your opinion on it is, seeing that the housing market is just down so much that now apparently Barney Frank and everybody wants to put new restrictions on what you have to do to sell your house, upgrades you have to make to be environmentally sound. I was just wondering if you're...
well, look, for 2 things. The cap and trade legislation, as it's so called, is basically a revenue source dressed up as an environmental policy. That's all really. It's just a way to get money into government, and they disguise it as environmental policy. I'll tell you why it's not environmental policy. Because if the United States tomorrow shut down every carbon-emitting plant and put no cars drove on our roads, there will be no change no measurable change in carbon emissions on the planet for the foreseeable future. It would have if you're a scientist, I'm not a scientist, but if you happen to be a scientist and you know about global warming and whether it's man-caused or not, whatever, even they admit that if America just shut down tomorrow, it wouldn't do anything. And here's more troubling, is that the growing polluters on the planet, India, China, emerging economies like that, they have no intent whatsoever of stopping what they're doing until at least they've caught up with us 20 or 30 years from now. So they're like, yeah, go ahead, knock yourself out, set an example for the world, we'll just take your businesses. We hope you do this. We're encouraging you to take the lead on this. And so, the bottom line is I don't have any interest in America becoming the cleanest third world economy on the planet. And now, we all believe in energy independence. I believe in energy independence. I believe that somewhere in America today, there is a young child, 7, 8, or 9-year-old, that will grow up to invent a battery or something that we don't even have a name for yet that will power your home or maybe your entire city without emitting a single whatever of carbon, okay? I believe that. And I believe that properly incentivized, they will do that. The American people have shown time and time again that when you can make money doing something, Americans do it better than anybody in the world. And they do a lot of it. And that's who will solve this problem for us. But in the interim, we have to be smart about how we get there. We should incentivize it. We should encourage it. We should create it as a goal, just like reaching the moon was a goal. To create alternative sources of energy that make us independent from the world should be something we should be working on full steam ahead, but not by destroying our economy, which is what I think programs like this would do.
I don't know if I should feel guilty or not being the last person.
No.
But anyhow, I have sent you a number of emails, and I believe that that is my privilege to be able to voice my opinion, which brings the frustration I have now. Being from Pasco County, I can send an email to all of our county representatives in the group email. If I want to send an email or a frustration or a concern I have to Tallahassee, I have to do it individually just to my representative. If I want to send an email to, or a message to Washington and a representative is there, I can only do it for those that are in my area. And I have tried setting up for like 4 hours a night to hit everybody, one after another after another. It's not just my representative here in Florida that is making the decisions, it's everybody making the decisions. And I do believe that the voice of the American people is being limited, that we cannot voice our opinion by sending an email to everybody, because that's the only way they're going to get any idea of what our frustration is to land base with our concerns. And when you're limited to just your representatives, they don't get the overall picture. The person who's voicing their opinion or our concerns is your newspaper, your TV media, and etc. And they're not representing the American people.
Right. That's a technology issue that I haven't been in charge in Tallahassee for almost a year now. I'm not in the legislature anymore, so I don't know why the system doesn't allow you to send multiple emails. I didn't even know that, to be honest with you. But that's an interesting observation that I think you should share. In fact, I'll see the Speaker of the House, the new Speaker of the House, Larry Credo. I'll see him next week, and I'm going to mention to him that should be a feature that there should be available to send to all.
And I have sent that email myself to several of our representatives, about probably 10 other people in Washington and Tallahassee, and have never gotten a response back that they're going to do anything about it.
Right.
And that really concerns me, because we have a lot of people here that have concerns of Florida and concerns in Washington, but we're limited as to how much you can do. You can't sit down there 12 hours at your computer.
Of course not.
Emails. And when you do it, you have to fill out a whole form, your name, your address, your phone number.
Well, there's 500 and some odd members of Congress. That would take a while. Yeah.
That's my concern.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much. Thank you. I enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You can be seated. We'll be dismissed in just a moment. And for going to the expense to be with us, our Vice President's going to come and share just a couple closing announcements with you, ways that you can get involved here locally and you can be a part of our club. I did want to mention on your way out, there are 2 tables. The main table where you signed in tonight, there's information about how you can join the Faith and Family Values Club and become a part of us. Across from that, there's a smaller table, and several representatives here tonight have different types of information they wanted to make available to you. I know Henry Wilson is here trying to get some signatures for his campaign, and so if you stop by that table on your way out, and you can see those individuals at that time. Carlos?
All right, great. You know, I keep reflecting that this is only our 3rd chapter meeting. Think about that. Our 3rd chapter meeting, and when John and I and some of the members of the Pasco team were kicking this idea around, faith and family values, think about that. And we said, why not? Little did we know that there was a vacuum that needed to be filled. And it is evidence tonight, John, that